happening, party people? It's Pete with Backdraft, and I am doing a review today. 2,500 miles on the old girl, the Thruxton R. I want to give you a little bit of a long-term ride review. Part 2 of the series of ownership of this. Now that the honeymoon is definitely worn off, we can talk a little bit about the bike itself. And we're going to talk objectively, which means it's not a gushing review. Okay, first off, I want you to know I do like this bike a whole bunch. In fact, of all the bikes I've ever owned, this is definitely one of them. Just kidding. This is definitely very close to my favorite bike that I've owned. And I would dare say it is my favorite bike, but I still have sentimental feelings about another steed that I had. Anywho, let's talk a little bit about this. Yes, sir. How are we doing? Yes, sir, baba. This bike is so fun to ride because it handles, it has torque, the brakes are unbelievable, and it just is cool. I mean, it looks cool, it sounds cool, it makes me look cool. Ooh. I mean, what else do you want, right? Seriously though, a couple drawbacks that I've seen on the bike, but these are definitely by no means deal breakers in my opinion, have to do with comfort of riding. Mechanically speaking, this bike is a 10, the body is a 10, the handling is a 10. I can't say enough about it, but the rideability, the comfort, probably, I'd say it's a 6 or a 7, somewhere right around there. 6.5, we'll give that a 6.5er. First off, after about an hour of riding, that's when little aches and pains start to show up. Now, I'm not a whiner, so don't tell me that. I was a firefighter 15 years. I understand pain. But after about an hour of riding, the bike starts to display its race stance that it has, and that comes in your wrist. So I've noticed while this bike is much more balanced than the last Thruxtons, the 800s and the air-cooled, because of your riding position, your wrists do take a lot of abuse, especially on a bumpy road. This road's really nice because I just paved it, but on a bumpy road, it can be their shock absorbers are your wrists, basically, for your torso, for your upper body. So after a while of bumping, you'll get a little achiness in the wrist, but it's nothing too severe. Second off, because the engine is this 1200 cc opposed crankshaft, offset crankshaft, that makes that noise oh so beautiful. You do get a little buzzing in the handlebars if you're at a highway speed. So you'll get the little tinglies in your hand. If you have a high quality pair of riding gloves, it really does wonders. I'm sure there's some other aftermarket things you could do, like bar end weights or something stupid, but I'm not into doing that. But I do notice after a long distance on the highway, a little bit of vibration in the hands, a little bit of tingling. No biggie, just something to be aware of. And this will be the last complaint I make. The headlight. This is a legitimate complaint. Come on, Triumph, what are you thinking? You're building top tier bikes, and you put a headlight on like this that has a tremendous dark side of the moon, if you will, when the high beam's on. So I'll back off this truck a little bit, and I'll give you a example. Right about there. This distance from me to the truck is black if you have the high beam on. You can't even see the road. It's just like a shadow. Super duper disappointing for such a nice bike. I don't know if the engineer had a case of the sneezes when he was designing the reflector of the headlight, and he missed the fact that most bike riders want to see in front of them when they're riding, but so annoying. That's a legitimate gripe, actually. If the high beam is on, you get this huge black spot. If the high beam is off and the low beam is on, you're just riding around regular headlight like right now. Actually, very good. The headlight's very good. Good projection to the sides, good light out front. but as soon as you click on that high beam, it's like you almost turned off your headlight. So quite disappointed in that. Now I've tried a few things to try to make it a little bit better, and unfortunately I have not been able to really correct that situation. Here we go. Something's going on over there. They're doing some sort of ride because it's a chase vehicle, and now there's like 1,000 Harley Davidson's pulling out. Interesting. And there's a donkey. Okay, let's get out of here. Meanwhile, this guy's going to rear end that truck. Alright. Okay, so as far as the headlight goes, I have researched a little bit, like, is there anything I can do to make this headlight better? And if you do a quick Google search, or as one of my students said, GTS, Google that stuff, you'll find that there is a complaint about the headlights. A lot of people are talking about it. So, that being said, just be aware that the headlight does have an issue. There's not a real solution. I tried aiming it a couple different ways, and it did make it a little bit better, but it's still really bad. What I am looking at is possibly putting an aftermarket headlight. They have some adaptive headlights. My buddy at A&J Cycles is trying to rope me into one of them. I haven't done that yet, but I'm thinking about it. They're just a little on the pricey side. I think they're like $750. And it's just kind of disappointing because this bike is like Triumph's trophy bike, no pun intended. And then to have a headlight that's that bad, it's just kind of different. Now we're talking, we got some Triumphs here. Oh. Are you kidding me? Well, how do you like this action? I am in a lineup of Triumphs. That's a really old Triumph ahead of me. I can smell them. Ah, so cool. I'll have to pull over up here and let you get a look-see. You almost got it. All right. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave. Wait, is that Colonel Sanders? Really, again, the headlight, I think, boy, if I could just like put it in the comment desk, Triumph fix one thing, I think that's what it would be. Because this headlight is about as bad as it gets. Okay, enough whining about the headlight. Give me a comment on what you think. If you've got a Triumph Thruxton and you've got something that you enjoy or whatever, you know, throw it on the comment section for me down below. That'd be cool. I'd like to hear what you say. A couple people have asked a couple questions. I'll go through some FAQs. How does the bike feel when it's cold out? That was one of the questions. Guys, it has no fairings on it. It's completely open to the weather, so you're going to get a little cold. There isn't much shielding taking place. The fact that the bike is a naked bike, cafe bike, whatever you want to call it, it just kind of lends itself to wind. I don't think a little fly screen that fits over your headlight is going to make much of a difference at all. But the tucking your legs in next to the tank, I don't know. I guess it takes a little bit of the wind off you. I put heated hand grips on from Triumph. Super slick accessory. Plugs right into the factory harness. Very, very little effort. Super awesome. And I would highly recommend those. And it's an easy job. The wires route to the back of the headlight. Don't get me going on the headlight again. No. And you just plug them in, and it's you're good to go. And they work through the ECM, so you get right on the clock. You get the status of the hand grips. It's kind of cool. Another question I get: how does the bike handle on the highway? Okay, guys, the bike handles really good on the highway, but at like 75 miles an hour, it's pushing like $4 grand. Now, the usable torque range on this is on the lower end of the bike. It still has a lot of power up high, plenty of power to pass somebody on the highway, but you're kind of at the outer limits of where you're going to be. So just kind of keep that in mind. On the highway, it does good, but it is a little buzzy because you're up in the RPM range. And this isn't a $120 bike where you're going to be going like 100 and something miles an hour, whipping by you know, Hayabusas and, you know, giving them the pinky wave. That's not going to happen, okay? And this bike isn't designed for that. This bike is designed to rip around these type of corners with a lot of usable torque, and you can have a blast doing it. And to me, that's great because I don't need to go that fast. I enjoy feeling the bike work its magic. So, yeah, shoot me any questions you got. If you're on the fence about buying one of these, just buy one. They're cool. You can pick them up used now. The 2016s have been out now. I've seen a few going on Craigslist for good prices, and you won't regret it. I mean, they're cool. They're really cool. So, anyways, don't forget to subscribe. Throw me a comment, a like if you don't mind. I'd really appreciate it. And keep one wheel on the ground out there. Be safe.